All right, welcome to the That's My Sports podcast. Two-man team today. It is me, Seyi Omanera, and it's him, Aaron Cass. He is him, and we are actually recording this on a Super Bowl Sunday. We're probably not going to delve too much into the Super Bowl because look, you guys have been bombarded with Super Bowl talk already with Radio Row, all these sports outlets talking about Super Bowl, asking players these stupid questions, like asking Nick Sirianni which player you would let date your daughter, and his daughter is 5 years old. Pretty weird. Yeah, so we ain't going to really talk too much about Super Bowl. We'll just say our picks, and then we'll head to the NBA trade deadline. So my pick is the Kansas City Chiefs because Patrick Mahomes is essentially Michael Jordan if he was a quarterback, and he can't go against Michael Jordan playing quarterback.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Chiefs, Chief Kingdom, hate the Eagles, dirty birds, fuck them.
So is it really biased, or do you just actually think the Chiefs will win? Because I have no bias in my pick.
I'm definitely 50-50. Definitely 50%. Yeah. It's just I hate the Eagles, but like it is the Chiefs. They've been there. This is their third time in the Super Bowl. They just don't have receivers that have been in the big games besides Travis Kelce, but that's all right.
Yeah, well, logic tells me the Eagles should win because they got an overall better team, but also heart logic, or I don't know if it's heart logic or common sense. Like, they got Patrick Mahomes. Like, don't overthink it. They got Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
So let's switch it over to the NBA trade deadline because a lot of things have happened during the trade deadline. Probably the most active trade deadline in some time, definitely. Probably in my whole life.
Same.
For some weird reason, there was 10 players that went back to their former teams. That was pretty odd, pretty funny, because it just made for great Twitter content saying, oh, this is great Photoshop of Eric Gordon in a throwback Clippers jersey. This is great Photoshop of D'Angelo Russell in the Lakers jersey. Oh my God. You see John Wall back in the Rockets jersey. Wow, who made that quickly? I don't get it. Oh yeah. So we know he ain't playing a single game for the Rockets. But how funny was that? After talking all that shit, even though it is true, it's very true, about how Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. won't make it in the league playing the way that they play, out of Houston Rockets organization is pretty messed up. And was that week later or less than a week later, he gets traded to that same team that he talked shit about?
That was about a couple weeks. And I mean, once that trade happened, I knew we were going to buy him out just because of that situation.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
But also, I think we're trying to get cap space. I think with Eric Gordon gone, we should have at least 70 to 80 million cap. And we just bought out Danny Green right now. So I just heard that the Celtics and Lakers are looking at him. So that's going to be interesting. So really the trade was just a salary dump, which is fine. But what did you think of the Gary Payton trade? Is it
still on? Is it confirmed?
Essentially, it still is. They have to decide by today. But if he was healthy, I'm putting in air quotes, why would they give up 5 second-round picks for just Gary Payton? That's just crazy. And Portland would get Kevin Knox.
And to re-clarify for the listeners again, today is Sunday, February 12th. So by the time you listen to this podcast, the trade will probably be confirmed or denied. But you give up 5 second-round picks because you want to get James Wiseman's contract off the team. That's really the main reason. And that's why I think the trade is still going to go through. Because, look, I know they wanted GP2 back. GP2, of course, is a great defender. Played his best basketball of his life with the Golden State Warriors. Got him to stay in the NBA, where at one point he was about to leave the game altogether and just live a regular life. So I mean, yeah, I'm sure they wanted GP2, but I think the main thing was shedding all that money owed in luxury tax for having James Wiseman on the team. And then while discussing this trade, I can pull up how much money in luxury tax owed. But this is a trade that has a lot of factors to it. I mean, Sadiq Bey got traded to the Atlanta Hawks as well, and James Wiseman, the trade will save $131 million in luxury tax money, and that reason alone is probably why the Warriors are still going to give a trade go through with this deal. I mean, 5 second-round picks, that's a lot of picks, but second-round picks, the likelihood of that becoming one of them becoming a quality NBA player is pretty low. You can get a Jokic, you can get a Manu Ginobili, but you can also get a guy who flounders out the league in 3 years.
I guess. I just thought it was
I hate to say it, but you could get a Sharif Cooper. I hate to say it, but you can get a Sharif Cooper.
Oh my goodness, where is he now? Oh, I don't know, somewhere in Cleveland.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, you get a player that flounders out in the league in a few years. Like, you could get a Jokic or you get a Sharif Cooper. So, like, second round picks, they're a crapshoot. They're a crapshoot.
This is true. It's always those gems.
But a crapshoot.
Did you see that story with the Miami Heat where Pat Riley apparently fell asleep? And the Miami Heat had someone to trade. They didn't say who, but they said that Kyle Lowry could have been out the door, but because Pat Riley didn't wake up.
Who. They did say who. It's the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah, but did they say a player though? Because who'd be doing that trade with them?
Who the Clippers would have traded? Probably Reggie Jackson. Probably the players they always traded: Reggie Jackson, John Wall, and they probably would have cut them or something. It was just been a way to shed out the salary owed to Kyle Lowry. But, I mean, look, Pat Riley is 77 years old, and he's living in Miami. If he is not being a GM, if he's not working as a GM in the Miami Heat, what else do you think he's going to be doing in Miami? Could be selling coke, but I don't think he's doing that. So he's going to be sleeping. He's going to be sleeping. He's an old man in Miami. What else is he going to do? I mean, yeah, it's very funny, and I'm sure he's kicking himself because Kyle Lowry, that is one of the worst contracts in basketball right now. Raptors done well to let him go, but yeah, I guess they got what few more months of Kyle Lowry.
2 more years. Months.
Yeah, 2 more years of Kyle Lowry, unless they try to get him away during the summer. But yeah, 2 more years of Kyle Lowry. See what they can do with that.
Any teams that you saw that should have made a move or made a weird move that they shouldn't have, or anything like that?
Well, what was funny was, quote, "I'm finding the West." John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. They should have made a move, and I'm sure they tried to make a move. I've heard of rumors they tried to make a move with OG Anunoby. They tried to trade 3 first-round picks for him, but the Raptors rejected it. One thing I see with the Raptors is with Masai Ujiri is that the Raptors never rebuild, and that's one thing I should have known why they probably weren't going to trade OG, because the Raptors never rebuild. They just tried to reload. When they lost Kawhi, they lost Kyle Lowry. Did they rebuild? No, they just tried to reload. They got a top pick in Scotty Barnes, and they just tried to have 6'9" wings in every single position but point guard and shooting guard. It didn't work. So did they try to rebuild? No. They tried to reload. They got Jakob Porto from the San Antonio Spurs. So they're like, hey, we don't need to trade OG Anunoby. So they didn't. And Memphis Grizzlies, I feel like they need to make a move because after, I'm sure what we're going to talk about, the Kevin Durant trade to the Phoenix Suns, the Memphis Grizzlies went from a team that was on a losing skid as well. Ever since the "I'm finding the West" quote and the Shannon Sharp altercation, things haven't been looking good for the Memphis Grizzlies. And now it's looking even worse as the West got 10 times stronger. Kyrie going to the Dallas Mavericks, KD to the Suns. Man, John Morant, I'm sure he wishes he took that quote back.
And James Harden doesn't have to wear a tin cap on his head because he pretty much just said that he's not the bad guy anymore for everyone leaving Brooklyn.
James Harden is essentially Einstein. What is he? No, he's Xavier from X-Men. Like he's Professor X from X-Men. Yeah, like he had the foresight. He saw shit was gonna go down in Brooklyn. So like, you know what? Let me leave here first before everybody else does. And I'll help the Sixers too by trading their mentally damaged goods and Ben Simmons to the Brooklyn Nets. So they got a superstar and they traded a player who wasn't going to play for the Sixers. And if he did play, he wasn't going to do too much. Did you see what Ben Simmons did yesterday? See how many minutes minutes he played?
I
That was a
didn't,
Ben
but
Simmons defender.
I'm gonna say like 20 minutes.
Less, 16.
Oh, that's close.
He played 16 minutes. So if you would say 2 years ago, if Ben Simmons was on a team with Mikal Bridges, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Nick Claxton, you would think, oh, Ben Simmons is the clear star of that team, right? No, he's a rotation guy. He's a rotation guy in that team.
Apparently, Mikal Bridges is so good that Houston was trying to get give him 4 picks or something like that for Mikal Bridges.
Mikal Bridges. One, I don't know why Houston would want him because
dude, who knows Houston?
He's not a player that's going to move the needle and make you a winning team. He's just an extremely, extremely good complementary piece that can take a very good team to a championship team because he's an elite defender. He's a plus on offense. I think there was a stat during the past month, he's been averaging 23 a game.
Oh, wow.
So his offensive game is taking the next step, and he's always been an elite defender. So players like that and OG, they're very valuable, and they should be treated like a star in terms of trade discussions because it's hard to find elite defenders who can also give you at least 15 to 16 on the offensive end. So those guys should be treated like a star. Just for Houston's case, while we all know they need defense, they definitely need defense. They also need more star power as well. So I just don't see what Houston would benefit trading first round picks. We're not even sure if Jalen Green is going to be a star yet in the NBA because I'm not really sold. I'm not sold yet.
He is going to be a star, sir. And so is little Jokic.
I'm sold Alfred and Şengün. Yeah, I'm sold little Jokic will be a star. I'm completely sold on him. I'm not sold on Jalen Green yet because right now what he gets is kind of empty stats.
True.
But so I'm not really sold because look, OJ Mayo, first few years in the league, he was averaging 17 to 20 a game. After that, what did he become? A 6-man. That could be Jalen Green's same trajectory as well. Colin Sexton, 24 a game 2 years ago. He's a starter now, but he's been a 6-man. We don't know if he could be all-star or 6-man.
True.
I feel like he'd be right in between, just solid scorer. Solid and efficient scorer.
I mean, unfortunately, I think Steven Silas has to pack his bags because nothing's working out. There's no defense. No one's playing any defense.
Look at that roster. What can he do with that team? What can he do with that roster?
Something. I mean, the guy's won at least 15 games every the last 3 years. He's been on the team.
Player,
something.
Besides Alperen and Şengün was Eric Gordon. What else could he do with that team?
He had to have done something for defense because Eric Gordon said nothing's changed over the 3 years he's been there with Steven Silas. I was a big supporter.
He's fed up. He's fed up with the roster, with the young boys jacking up shots everywhere. That's why I'm sure he's high over the moon to get out of there and go back to LA, go back to the Clippers.
I mean, I think that's a good move for him.
Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. And unless they get a point guard, I guess he's their point guard, even though he's not really a point guard. But do they need a point guard when it got Kawhi and Paul George? Don't even know. So, the John Wall, Reggie Jackson thing didn't work out. So
exactly.
Are they signing Russell Westbrook?
I want him to. But from what I keep hearing, Russell Westbrook is either thinking of Miami or Chicago. Well, I mean, I guess Chicago because of Billy Donovan.
Oh yeah,
But Miami,
best
I
season of
don't
his
know, man.
career.
They didn't do anything in the trade deadline, so it's kind of the same roster. Jimmy Butler's always kind of injured or taking days off or games off, I should say. So that's gonna be. I think he should just go to the Clippers. Just
I
prove to
think the
LeBron,
Clippers.
stick it in his fucking eye.
And the thing is, Russell Westbrook, as we all know, is a family guy. So I would think the most sense for him to make is go to the Clippers because look, you don't have to move your kids. Like the whole family can stay in LA and he can stay back in his hometown and he can just play for the Clippers. That's a
And you
logical thing.
and you just
That's what
have
I
to
would think he would
move.
do.
You have to just move across the court. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, literally.
Now, I did see, though, Reggie Jackson's thinking of signing with Denver, and I believe Terrence Ross is signing with the Suns once they both get bought out from their teams. Terrence
So
Ross, Orlando, and Reggie Jackson in Narland. I mean, Narland. Look at me. I'm thinking old school.
I guess we can.
The Hornets.
I guess since we're talking about Denver, we could talk about and Reggie Jackson signing with Denver. We could talk about Bones Highland going to the LA Clippers, and that's the reason why they're getting Reggie Jackson, who is just essentially going to be their Bones Highland replacement, being that backup point guard. So apparently, Bones Highland has had a lot of off the court problems with Denver's staff, with Mike Malone as well, causing some scenes on the bench. He had to be punished in some sort of way. I think I read a report that he had to take a commercial flight as a punishment, or he chose to take a commercial flight on his own instead of flying with the team. So led to him getting traded. He goes to a good situation with the LA Clippers too. He might be the starting point guard actually for the LA Clippers. So Denver just a like for like replacement. Reggie Jackson will just replace Bones Highland. I don't say that's too much of a drop off. Bones Highland is a better player, but not by much. I think it's just like a lateral move for the Denver Nuggets. Terrence Ross going to Phoenix with that team. I always see Terrence Ross as just a very inefficient scorer, but apparently he's been shooting 38% for the Orlando Magic. But
I always thought he was
I've seen.
I always thought he was a good scorer. He just doesn't play defense, which is what mostly Phoenix doesn't do.
I felt like it was both. He was. I mean, he'll be. He's a good 3-point shooter, but I feel like he also kind of takes bad shots as well. But I mean, when you're playing in Orlando, when there was nothing around you before this year, I guess I could see that. So him going to Phoenix got a lot more scoring, of course. KD and Book. He's just going to be playing a role on the bench, dropping threes, or he's going to be a starter because Phoenix right now, after that trade, they got no depth at all. Absolutely none. Absolutely none.
I love the trade because they didn't get rid of any of their big pieces, which is kind of weird. I was like, I guess the Nets just wanted Cam Johnson and Kel Bridges.
Here's my theory. I felt like the Suns would have rather gave up DeAndre Ayton over Mikal Bridges. I would have rather gave up DeAndre Ayton over Mikal Bridges. I felt like the Nets didn't want DeAndre Ayton over Mikal Bridges. Why? Because they got a better center on their team called Nicholas Claxton. So they're like, okay, we don't really want to give up Mikal Bridges, but hey, for KD, we're going to have to do it. So they did it. I felt like the Nets done well because I mean, look, KD wanted out anyways. KD, even though he demanded trades and everything, at least when he's able to play, he plays. He gives it his all when he plays too. So Nets saw like, look, he's handled everything with professionalism. Of course, he wants to trade now when Kyrie left because, look, he doesn't want to be part of a rebuilding team. He's trying to win. So, hey, he's handled everything respectfully. Let's trade him to the team he wants to go to. So they did that. And, look, they got quality pieces back. They got, I believe, 4 first-round picks. One in 2029 or something like that, like when everything else falls. Like banking on the worst-case scenario for the Phoenix Suns. I felt like they've done pretty well that trade because, like I said, Mikal Bridges, quality player. Cam Johnson, quality 3-and-D guy as well. Can play both forward spots. They got a lot of solid role players. I feel like and look, of course, Brooklyn is an attractive place. The Barclays Center looks beautiful. You're being in New York. They can still attract another star to their team. That might not have worked out, but they can still attract another star because who doesn't want to play Brooklyn? Who doesn't want to play New York? And then you're going to be leading player. I mean, apparently those three didn't want to play New York: James Harden, Kyrie, and KD. But
I was supposed to say that.
Yeah, but they are going to attract somebody. If not, look, they got all these draft picks they can finally rebuild.
I feel like Joe Tsai, though, just kind of like dug himself in a grave of just what he was doing. Like I guess he didn't want to bring Kyrie to LA, which is fine. I wouldn't either. And it looks like he's doing pretty good with the Mavericks. I don't know if you've seen any highlights of him. He's doing what he needs to do.
I watched the first game with Kyrie when Luka was out. Looked pretty good. He looked
pretty good with Luka in it yesterday, in the lineup yesterday. So that's going to be a good matchup. And then just the way the whole Kyrie situation, and then Kevin, and it's just, I don't know. It feels like Brooklyn just looks like a cesspool that nobody wants to be there. Like, who can they attract?
It looks like a toxic work environment.
Exactly.
Why did everybody want to leave? The quote that James Harden said yesterday, that he's not the bad guy anymore, and he says he saw like how toxic it was. Like the players did not want to be there, and it makes me wonder what type of owner, like you said, how Joe Tsai is behind closed doors. Because even look, say what you want about what Kyrie said in the anti-Semitic views, it's just still like, what owner gets a player to tries to get a player to do like a list of commandments, and this is what you do before you're back on the team? Like, these are grown men. I find that to be ridiculous. These are grown men, and I feel it's also hypocritical of him as well, because I'm sure he said a lot of things. I mean, like, rich people have done things equally as fucked up. It's like Nike rejecting him. Nike has done things as bad as well, and probably even worse. But just you're getting another grown man to do something like that. That's not going to get them like, hey, I want to come back to this team the following year. No, like okay, I'll do it, but I'm going to leave when I get the chance. And that's exactly
people were
what
so
he did.
mad. People were so mad that Kyrie wanted to leave and that he wanted to resign at one point. Before the season started, he wanted to sign an extension with Brooklyn, but they gave it to Kevin instead. And they're like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, if you're treating Kyrie like shit, he's not going to be like, oh, yeah, let me get a 4-year extension and play with you guys another 4 years. Like, he did what he needed to do. He had almost career highs and everything when he was in for this season, I should say, not even with Brooklyn. And they still wanted him out. But let me ask you this, though. With all these trades that went down, with rosters improving, is there a new favorite to win the title? Or will Golden State still repeat? Or is
Golden
Boston...
State? Golden State?
Yeah.
Golden State this year?
They are the champs, so yeah.
Come on.
They have the same roster. Come on. They got the same roster.
That's the problem. They got the same roster while everybody else upgraded.
So then who's winning it? Because I didn't see Boston making any moves as Mike Muscala.
Mike Muscala, like, say what you want. Say what you want about his rapping. If anyone wants to see his rapping, I suggest you Google it or YouTube.
That's why I said that.
But as a backup center, that's a solid acquisition. He can stretch the floor for you. So that's a solid acquisition for the Boston Celtics. You get another 3-point shooter out there. He shoots like what, 40% or near 40%. That's a solid acquisition. So I honestly, unless I gotta see what the Suns do in the buyout market. The way this team is currently constructed, I don't think they're winning the championship. But it will all change. It'll all change once the buyout market happens and you see who they get. We know they're getting Terrence Ross, but that's not enough. We got to see who they get in the buyout market before I crown them the champions, because who's playing defense in that team? And the thing is, Chris Paul is injury prone. Kevin Durant in recent years has been injury prone. Devin Booker came off a fairly lengthy injury. Can you trust all these three players to stay healthy all the way leading up to the NBA playoffs or deep into the NBA playoffs? I don't know. Not sure if I trust that yet. But at the same time, I don't think they can continually rest their players, rest their stars, because that Western Conference is very competitive. So they can't really afford to rest them like that. So they will have to play all three of them. They're all healthy. So right now, I feel like it's between the Nuggets and the Celtics.
The Nuggets?
Yes, the
Interesting.
Nuggets.
The
You
Nuggets.
see that starting lineup. You see that. Look, we all know the Nuggets as a regular season team, but regular season teams eventually become championship winning teams. So you've seen that starting lineup. They are number one in the West. Aaron Gordon is playing on an all-star level. They still got MPJ, who's a 20-a-game scorer on any given night. Jamal Murray looks back to his pre-injury self. They got KCP. That's a huge upgrade over Will Barton. Jokic is arguably the best player in the NBA. And while they lost Bones Highland, who was a solid six-man, they replaced him with Reggie Jackson, who's basically a similar type of player. I feel like the Nuggets, and especially like with the veterans they got, DeAndre Jordan, he's not that good anymore, or Jeff Green. And I believe they also upgraded their backup center. So many trades went on. I forgot what center they got, but Thomas Bryant. Yeah, they got Thomas Bryant. That's a solid backup center. I feel like this team could win a championship.
We'll see, because you know what Denver does in the playoffs. They always choke or do something.
What Denver did in the playoffs. This is a different team. Like I said, KCP over Will Barton. You got that defense right there. Aaron Gordon right now is an elite defender as well. Also giving you 17 a game. Stepped up on the offensive end. They might have the best starting five in basketball. Jamal Murray, KCP, MPJ, Aaron Gordon, and Jokic. What starting five is better than that right now? Might be the Celtics. Who knows? That's the only other starting five, or the Bucks. That's the only other starting fives I can see that are better than that starting five. Or the Grizzlies.
Interesting. Yeah, I do have Phoenix because of the trades, because I know once everyone gets healthy, I feel like they'll make a run. But yeah, they do need depth. But if Golden State doesn't play any away games, they should be able to get another ship, because they're abysmal 7-21 away. So they just need to win every home game in the playoffs.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen if they're currently in the ninth seed right now. If they're a playing team, that ain't going to happen.
True.
And then Steph Curry's out for a lengthy time as well. Yeah, I don't see this Warriors team even sniffing championship gold anymore. I don't say anymore. You never know what happens, but definitely not this year.
Oh, that's sad. Well, then
at least they save money, right?
Yeah, true that. I mean, maybe Sacramento can make it deep, even though they don't really have a lot of playoff experience. They're looking pretty
Sacramento
good.
will be a fun team to watch. I mean, it's so weird to see Sacramento be number 3 in the West. That is wild.
And actually have like a decently good roster.
That is wild. Oh my God. Yes. Domantas Sabonis, if Şengün isn't going to become Jokic, he could definitely become Sabonis. Like, Sabonis is a borderline superstar as well. De'Aaron Fox, is he a top 5 point guard? I might have to do the list, but definitely top 10. Yeah,
he should be top 10. I mean, he's an all-star now, but obviously because of injuries. But
there's so many good point guards in the league. I got to actually like organize it to see where he fits on that list. No question, no doubt, he's a top 10. Is he a top 5 point guard? We got to see. But got a lot. That's a team with depth as well. Got a lot of good wings. Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes. Hawks messed up, giving away Kevin Huerter. That's what Hawks are lacking right now, is a player like Kevin Huerter. And they gave him to the Kings for a slice of apples, really. The Kings didn't really have to give up anything for him. And then they got Malik Monk as well off the bench.
So basically, Atlanta was hurting for Herter, is what we're going to assume there. And what? Okay, so I just have a question with this. Why? I probably understand it in Houston's point of view. Why did we trade for Frank Kaminsky and Justin Holiday?
Okay.
We gave away Bruno Fernando and Garrison Matthews.
Also, going back to the Hawks, Bruno Fernando making his long-awaited return to the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh,
Another player, another role player, oddly just going back to his former team. Kaminsky, I really haven't seen him. When's the last time he's actually got quality minutes in the NBA game?
Maybe Phoenix, maybe when they won that championship run, but
because Dario Saric got hurt, and even then he still didn't play that much.
Then it would have to be not. I keep saying the New Orleans Hornets. The Hornets. That's the only thing I can think of. The Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, I don't. One thing, I'm mad that the Hawks separated the Holiday brothers again. It's like they constantly try to play together on the same team. At least the other Holiday brothers. Drew Holiday is always on his own, but Justin and Aaron, they always try to play together on the same team, and they even get traded. Justin Holiday, it was Aaron Holiday got traded from the Pacers to the Suns when they were together on the Pacers, and now when they're together on the Hawks, Justin Holiday gets traded. They've been trying to play together, and y'all keep trading one of them. I know they got to be mad.
With Jay Crowder going to the Bucks, do they oversee the Celtics? Do they take over the one spot and actually beat them?
I mean, at the end of the day, you still got that Greek guy that plays for that team. That Greek Nigerian that plays for the team. Giannis Antetokounmpo. You still got him.
Yeah, he might be my MVP this year, in all honesty. I mean, I know Jokic has a triple-dub, but Giannis is fucking cooking this year.
I say can't go wrong with either one of them, but I feel like it has to be either one of them. I feel like if it's not either one of them, it's clear voter fatigue because, like, I feel like those are the two obvious options. If you're not going to go with Jokic, you go with Giannis. If you're not going to go with Giannis, you go with Jokic. I feel like it shouldn't be anybody else. Jay Crowder. I mean, I see a lot of people clowning him like he's not that good of a player. No, that's a solid addition. You get a solid 3D guy that can play the 4, can play spot minutes for Giannis at that 4 spot, can play the 3 as well. I think that'll be solid for what the Bucks are looking for. Basically filling that void that they had when they had PJ Tucker on the team. He's basically replaces that. I feel like they can overtake the Celtics, but the Celtics at the end of the day still got too much depth. I feel like Jason Tatum is more closer than ever in skill level to Giannis or talent level to Giannis than he has ever been before. He's a legit top 10 player in the NBA. So I still feel like the Celtics got that on lock because they got also a better second best player than the Bucks have, with Jaylen Brown being better than Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday, whoever you think is the second best player on that team. And then Marcus Smart comes back. He's going to be the point guard, defensive guy. Brogdon, Derek White, who's been playing great. I just feel like the Celtics got too much depth, too much strength in numbers.
Well, I just breaking news, not really too much breaking or crazy, but the Spurs are cutting Stanley Johnson. They are releasing Stanley Johnson. I think he'd be good for a contender. Contending team. Dude, I just looked it up. Dude, shooting 45% from 3.
He is?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he plays for the Spurs, so I mean, I would have no idea. I mean, look, like, you can only watch so many teams on League Pass, right? And the Spurs are never usually on my list. I'm going to be honest with you.
I put this as a post, and that's my sports tweet, that this is the worst San Antonio basketball we have ever seen in our entire lives. Ever.
Well, I guess, how old were you in 1997?
I was 4.
I think it probably rivals that.
I always have to go by
with David Robinson. Was David like I was probably like 4 or 5 back then, but like I think David Robinson was out. So the best players were Sean Elliott, Terry Porter or something, Avery
Oh
Johnson.
God.
And then that's the year where they got Tim Duncan off the draft. The following year they got Tim Duncan. I think that was that year. I think they've been as bad since that year.
Mm.
All you old heads that listen to the show, correct me if I'm wrong. I was only like 4, but I feel like that might have been a worse team than this current team, but this team is still bad as well. But hey, that year they got Tim Duncan. This year they might get Victor Wembanyama.
Or Houston might get Victor Wembanyama.
Or Utah might get Victor Wembanyama. You know there's a reason why they made that trade, right?
Oh, I mean, I don't never doubt Danny Ainge when it comes to trades. The finesse king, I mind you.
They might. I don't know how bad can they be as long as they got Lauri Markkanen being basically the most improved player of the year on lock. I mean, they're 28-30 right now. They got to do a lot more losing to get there. They might have to get out of that sweepstakes, but you never know with the strength of the lottery.
True.
And then if we're talking about also Wembanyama candidates, you got the Charlotte Hornets, Detroit Pistons as well.
So I have a theory with the Hornets is that Michael refuses to draft good players because he
LaMelo
always
Ball?
wants. That's probably the one good one that we've seen in like forever with Michael, because I feel like he just wants everyone to be below him, and he doesn't want like them to shine brighter than him. It's the only I can think of when it comes to Mike
I
and
don't
the
think
Hornets.
it is. Michael Jordan sees it's just what you expect in a Hall of Fame, elite level, all pro NBA great if he was a general manager. He gets the guys, he doesn't like potential. He gets the guys that have a proven track record. So he always drafts the college player who's been in college for at least a couple of years. He drafts a solid college player, but the solid college player doesn't have a lot of potential. Of course, he'll take the obvious pick, like LaMelo Ball at that point, number 3. That was the obvious pick. He'll do things like that. But when he has like the 7th or 8th pick, he's always going to get the college veteran. That's just how he drafts. I mean, I don't think it's like anything else that he doesn't want a superstar. No, it's just that he doesn't see things that way. He doesn't see things in like, oh, I need potential. You just see things like, oh, have you already proven it on the college level like I did back in 85 or in 83, I think? Have you proven at the college level? Like Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker is the ideal Jordan pick. The thing is, that was one of the very few that actually worked out. He proved it. He proven it on the college level. He also proven it in the NBA game. Frank Kaminsky, one of the many picks that didn't work out. Elite player in college. Plumlee is solid. Plumlee is solid. He's a role player. I mean, but he was a solid player. What else? Cody Zeller. Cody Zeller, perfect example.
Oh God.
Solid player in the college game and the NBA game, backup center. I mean, it's not like the players he drafts, aside from Frank Kaminsky, aren't rotation guys. They usually are rotation guys. They're just never going to thread the needle. And it's just his teams are always constructed where they're never really bad enough to get the top pick, but they're never, ever close to be good enough to make the playoffs. Or if they do make the playoffs, they're getting out in the first round. Like, True. That's just how the teams are constructed because he always looks for solid players. He never goes out on a complete rebuild. He just wants to be, like, floundering. Now they're bottom feeders. So now the tides might change. If he has the number 1 pick, there's only one obvious option. And if he wants to get too technical with it, there's a second obvious option. Those 2 players that we have is coming draft, Scoot Henderson and Victor Wembanyama. Those 2 players are as close as you can get to can't miss prospects. So they can't mess up if they get a top 2 pick. Now, if they get 3, 4, 5, that might be a question. But if they get the top 2, they can't mess up. Even
Just
when they got LaMelo Ball, get Scoot Henderson. I mean, he can play the other position. They can't mess up with that.
Just get the second pick there, Mike. I want the first pick. Get the second pick, and we'll be all right.
All right. When lottery all of a sudden gives a pick to the Orlando Magic or something, just don't say anything. Oh, we'll save the Orlando Magic get the first pick. Oh my, no, that team. You got to give. They got to already mail them the championship 3 years later from now. Ain't no way. That'll be wild. I said it before the season that him going to the dunk will be wild with Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama. And like you can say right now with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander the way he's been playing. But the Magic, they already got Victor Wembanyama at home with Bol. They already got him. Then Paulo Banchero, Wendell Carter. You can play a whole lineup of 6'10" or taller players.
Jesus.
Franz Wagner could be the point guard. Wembanyama could be the shooting guard. Banchero could be the 3-4. Bol could be in there. Wendell Carter. You don't need a guard on that team. That'll be crazy. I actually hope that doesn't happen. Like that's literally if the Monstars were actual real human beings. They'll be the Orlando Magic if that happens.
And for all you young heads, the Monstars is Space Jam #1, not the LeBron James one.
They better know what that is. I don't care if you 35 or 15. You better know what the Space Jam 1 is. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the trash that was the LeBron James version. I'm talking about Space Jam 1.
Just saying, you never know. All right, last thing before we go. LeBron James, hate saying this, passes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Legendary.
Most points scored. Is he finally the GOAT over Michael?
I mean, no. I mean, I'm not saying he isn't, but I'm not saying that could be an argument that he is. I mean, look, he obviously played a lot more years than Michael Jordan. That's why he's got the record.
And if you think about it, it's really 4 years because Michael 3 years in college and his was it his rookie or is it his second year that he broke his foot?
It was his second year.
His second year broke his foot. That's basically 4 years that LeBron has over him. And he retired twice.
Jordan took the sabbatical. Yep. The first retirement sabbatical to golf and baseball. Came back. Then retired again. Came back for the Wizards, and
Jerry Krause,
about that, the better.
Jerry Krause fucked up the second time he retired. If he just retained who he should have and kept Phil, I think Mike would have probably had 4 or 5 right there.
Oh yeah,
instead of the 3-peat. But that's Jerry Krause's fault.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we know that, and I feel like that's the reason why he probably would have broke the scoring record himself, Michael Jordan, if he would have played continuously. And then
I saw a stat with Mike because he's got the 32,000. He actually played in less games than the top 5 that are right there. Because I think he's he's 4 now. He's 4 or 5. Can't even tell anymore because of what LeBron did.
Know. Yeah, I don't
but
even know.
he did it in less games to get to the 30,000 mark. And he retired twice. But for me, I think Kareem is still the most points scored king just because he made 1 3-pointer in his entire life and the 3-point line wasn't even around until like 79, 80.
If you want to do this, if you want to say this, why he's still the 3-point scoring king just because there wasn't a 3-point shot and players didn't take threes anyways when there was a 3-point shot, why would we always also compare average height to back when Kareem was playing and back now and to now? Players are taller now than they were back then. Kareem was playing against guys like me and you in some positions, in some rotations. So
I think once the 80s came, it kind of differentiated.
Overall, they're still taller now than they are today. 7'1", you're going to tower over some guys. You're a lot more skilled than the NBA is a lot more skilled now than it was back then. So you're going to be a little bit more dominant. Since there wasn't no 3-point shot and he is a center, guess what they're going to do? force feed the paint. So he gets the ball a lot more because there wasn't no 3-point line. So more touches and more chances to score.
And can we say that most of the players were all coked out? So Kareem
Exactly.
and all of them had advantages.
So as long as you weren't coked out, you could probably average 20. Who knows? So so I'm just saying, if we're going to make that argument of there was a 3-point shot, now we got to make that argument for Kareem that just the competition was a lot different back then. And, I mean, I know this happens in all sports, but it's just so funny to me that you can stop mid-game to have a whole interview, press conference, and celebration. Like, I know that does happen in all sports, but there was literally 10 seconds left. Like, you could have just waited to. I'm sure OKC would just let the clock run out for okay, have your ceremony. We'll just beat y'all at the end of the game, like they did. But
this is just what LeBron does. This is what he does.
It's not. They do this with every single player. Like they did this with Steph Curry when he broke the 3-point record. I just find it kind of funny that you can just stop mid game, have this whole celebration. And then after that, get stomped at the end of the game. That was funny. That was funny.
I thought it was funny that Anthony Davis was sitting because they were losing and lost to the Thunder, and they want him to be happy for LeBron. It's like, dude, you're losing. You're losing the game.
Yeah, I don't blame him. That's what made it also hilarious. It wasn't like they were winning the game. I felt like all that added fuel to the fire for OKC. Like they're just watching. It's like, what is this? Like we're winning the game. Y'all stopped having a ceremony because of LeBron. Like they were running the whole offense for LeBron. It was like when Kobe's last game. They just kept giving the ball to Kobe to make sure he scores a lot of points. It was the same thing with LeBron. They ran the offense for LeBron at the expense of them winning.
Difference, though. Kobe won the game. LeBron didn't win.
Kobe was also playing against the Utah Jazz, who decided that.
Don't do that.
During that day, we're just not going to play any defense because we have so much respect for Kobe. We're not even going to play any defense. Like I watched that game, they did not play any defense at all.
Don't do that.
They were like the media is going to kill us for actually trying to win the game. So let's not even win the game. Let's let Kobe have his cake and eat it.
Don't do that to my Michael Jordan because that's who we grew up really watching was Kobe.
Hey, he was my Michael Jordan as well. We're the same. We're basically the same age. He was my Michael Jordan as well. So I just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. We just gonna call spade a spade. We just gonna keep it fair.
All right, there's spade versus spade. You got any final words?
I mean, nah, but I guess if we could talk about LeBron's topic, did you see how he was standing like a random NPC on Grand Theft Auto when that little girl who may or may not be a plant, I really don't know, was sitting right next to him talking about how it's the greatest moment of her life sitting right next to him, being interviewed by ESPN. We could hear her clearly. LeBron just sitting there like he completely is unaware what's going on, even though they're talking about him sitting right next to him. It was just the most unintentionally hilarious thing ever because ESPN kept zooming out to show LeBron sitting right next to him while LeBron is paying no mind at all.
What a fucking guy.
It was so fun. No, it's nothing against LeBron. And who knows? He probably even hear her because she had a microphone, so it doesn't mean that he could hear her, but we could. It's just the funny thing that of the camera is zooming in and zooming out to show LeBron, while LeBron has no care in the world about that girl sitting right next to him. That was so funny. He did take a picture with her after the game, but that was just hilarious.
Ay. Well, my final word of the day is always usual. Black people matter, and Kareem is still the scoring king. There, I said it.
You are a hater. You are a hater. That's all I got to say. And that's all it is for us. That's how it's going to be. So this is the That's My Sports podcast. It is Aaron and Seyi. We'll see y'all next week.